How you doing, YouTube? Matt with Massive Beer Reviews. Back with yet another review. A little bit of a kind of tweener beer review time. Not necessarily a homebrew, but not necessarily a, for lack of a better word, pro brew. It's some kind of middle of the roadness in a form of Reaction Brewing's BBC Big Bold Cherry Wheat. Outside of the name, this comes from Justin from Michigan. He actually sent me a couple beers out, this and another one. And he's like, hey, man, I'm trying to get a brewery off the ground. And he's like, I'd like to send you a couple beers if you'd like to review them. And I said, hell yeah. And he kind of has one of those, like, either really big kind of homebrew setups or the really small kind of nano brewery setup. So the fact that he's even had stuff in cans is pretty cool. So anyway, we're going to dive into it, see what she's got. So, yeah, as far as it goes, name is BBC. For those that don't find that funny, then, well, whatever. Big, bold cherry. On the side here, it says, the BBC uses real Michigan cherries from Traverse City to give it a bold cherry flavor. A mix of sweet and tart cherries balance out the wheat beer perfectly. Kolsch yeast gives it a unique flavor with a refreshing finish. Enjoy BBC today. Be careful, because once you've had this BBC, you'll never go back to any other cherry wheat, that is. Wah, wah. It says here it was canned in August 10th, 2017. It says drink before the 10th of November 2017. This is the 26th of 2017. So you send me old beer, brother? No, but it's a wheat beer. It's with cherries. It means it can go a little bit weird, but it should have held up just fine, hopefully. So otherwise, it's okay. It doesn't really do much for me, to be perfectly honest with you. The name is quite funny, so I kind of dig that. But yeah, let's see what she's got. So it's wheat beer, cherries. What do we expect? We expect a reddish, slightly reddish color on that kind of yellowish kind of background that you usually get with wheat beers. And it's pretty much what we're getting right now. A bit bigger head than you typically want. Not necessarily a pretty rough pour. Just kind of, you can get that with wheat beers, but you put that combination of that fruit in there. A couple things can happen. One, you can kind of have just this kind of aggressive overcarbonation, especially if you're kind of, I don't know if they're doing like a bottle can condition kind of thing going on. I doubt it though. But it also could be those kind of cherries make the beer go a little bit sideways. Could be a couple of reasons, or it could just be simply just as slightly overcarbonated. You know, but what we ended up with, Three Fingers, off-white, in there where it has that slight kind of strawberry kind of cherry hue to it. Tight back bubbles, and you know, she looks like a cherry-based wheat beer. She has that kind of subtle haziness that you'd expect from kind of a typical unfiltered German wheat. They add that kind of added element of those cherries in there, and you get that kind of washed out kind of cherry look to it. So, yeah, does she look like a cherry wheat? Absolutely. Let's see what she smells like. She smells like a wheat beer. She smells like a wheat beer with that kind of little bit of that kind of drier kind of lager-based kind of Kolsch wheat yeastiness. It says it's using Kolsch yeast in there. Does that mean he actually lagered it? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, you get a little bit of kind of what I typically get from that is a little bit of funkiness, subtle funkiness. A little bit bigger here. I think the cherries are kind of lending that, but then you get this bright kind of wheat kind of nose on it. There's a cherry vibe in there, but it's coming off kind of unripened, kind of fleshy or skinny cherryness, not necessarily like a sweet kind of fleshiness. And that's pretty much it. Nice wheatness, wheat to the nose, a little bit of a slightly funky kind of what I'm kind of detecting, like I said, more kind of like a lager vibe thing in my brain. That could be the Kolsch yeast, and then, you know, subtle kind of fleshy cherries. So she looks like a wheat beer. She smells kind of like a wheat beer with cherries, definitely. Let's see what she tastes like. Cheers. That's pretty tasty, to be perfectly honest with you. The cherries are definitely the showiest thing in the beer besides the malt. Weird, I'm going to kind of a biscuity kind of malt off it, to be perfectly honest with you, as opposed to a wheat. But again, that could be just, I don't know, maybe earthiness from the hops combined with the cherries, combined with that kind of weediness giving that to me. I don't know. But the cherries lead the day, but they're not over impactful. They're not like throwing crazy kind of cherry weirdness at you. I just got this nice, semi-sweet, almost like an unsweetened sorbet kind of thing going on right there with cherries. Nice mouthfeel to it. The wheat is definitely coming on with each sip. I get a little bit more kind of wheat vibes. It's definitely kind of an American wheat because the yeast, while on the nose, gave me a slight little funkiness. There's really not much to it with the taste. You're not getting that kind of traditional, kind of European German, kind of banana-y, kind of spicy ester. It's kind of this there just for utilitarian reasons. But there is a bit of crispness to it. So that's probably your Kolsch yeast at play. And it's tasty. It's tasty. It's actually pretty damn well made. I'm not really tasting much as far as negativity going. You're talking about a wheat beer, throwing a bunch of cherries in it, and it's still good, several months later. All the flaws would have shown up by now. So kudos to you, Justin, for kind of pulling that off. And she's actually, I'm going to tell you right now, one of the more tastier for me fruited wheat beers that I've had in a while. A lot of these kind of fruited wheat beers tend to come off a little bit synthetic, a little bit kind of that kind of, Flintstone chewy kind of vitamin thing going on with them. This one is a bit more organic. It comes off like some of the people that you tend to use kind of more of their kind of terroir based fruits. What's the one that I was kind of coming in the brain? In the States, I mean. Who does it? Oh, my God. It's killing me. I'm not going to be able to think of it. If I think of it, I'll spout it off. But there's a couple people that actually go out of their way to either grow the fruits they want to kind of put into their beers and kind of grow off that. It comes off that way in this beer. They're talking about using Michigan cherries in there. I'm getting that it's like kind of a natural thing that occurs in there. Almost like you were getting a little bit of the kind of cherry flavor from the yeast because that's where it was kind of cultivated at. But yeah, it's tasty. It's definitely kind of like a summery beer, but it's enough meat in its bones to kind of carry you through the winter. I dig it. It's not blowing me away. It's not the best beer I've ever had in my life, but it's pretty damn tasty. And honestly, probably one of the better fruited homebrew beers I've had. They, like I said, they tend to come off a little bit heavy-handed or a little bit not too much fruit. It's kind of hard to hit that balance, and this one kind of does that enough, or does it in a very tasty way. Logston Farmhouse Ales. That's what I was trying to think of, by the way. We do a lot of that stuff. They actually ended up planting and build and sell cherry trees and stuff like that in and around their farm brewery. But anyway, yeah, tasty stuff, good. Enjoy it. The other one I have is for a wheat beer from him too. So we'll see what's up with that one. Two very similar beers, so I'm expecting much the same, just a little bit different kind of fruit. But we'll get to that when we cross. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Yeah, tasty stuff. You know what I mean? When people send you beer, you always don't know what to expect, especially in that middle of the world homebrew land. So it's kind of cool to get a beer that I kind of enjoy. And the label's funny, so that has it going for it. Anyway, let's see. It's weird to talk about because homebrew stuff I usually don't kind of rate. I kind of just talk about the beer and then just let it go from there. Because what I'm going to do is going to be one of the better homebrews I've had is late to stuff like that. So I'm kind of going to admit all that stuff and just say, if you live in that area and Reaction ends up opening a brewery and you're in the area, what should draw you into going there? One, somebody trying to open a brewery is a pretty good thing. Two, the way this beer comes off, obviously it's not some kind of hopped forward monstrosity that everybody's trying to do. So that in and of itself is pretty cool. I like it when the homebrew stuff comes at me and it's not just crazy dry hop this and that and the other thing. And it tastes pretty well. I mean, scaling can be one of the biggest issues when it comes to kind of open a bigger brewery, but Justin's already working off a bigger kind of setup as is. So yeah, if he gets the brewery up and off the ground and you're in that kind of Michigan, I forget the area he's in, I'll kind of write it in the description down below. Definitely worth checking out. So there you go, another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you didn't, anywhere in between, down there words and stuff. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Untapped. There's dudes on it. Massive beers. Go check it. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this review. Hopefully Justin, hopefully get that brewery off the ground, and hopefully see you next time. Cheers.